the distance, both of our series so far, and in this third line, we are going to be the last game remaining in the first day of the group stages. I'm Lyrical, going to be joined as well by Blaze. Blaze, it's all gone crazy. VGJ, they're going for the next success in the Omni Knight. They didn't want to put it into the hands of dogfights, but IG Vitality, this time around, they get the Monkey King. What are your thoughts?
I'm thinking that this is the first time that we've seen an Abaddon ban today, and I think it's quite reasonable considering how active RTK is with that hero and just in general what he likes to do with it. But it'll be a bit of a replacement here just to run the Omni Knight instead. So in the end, I do think that they still have to kind of respect where that hero is coming from in terms of like banning out Crystal Maiden maybe in phase 2, or at least at very least trying to make sure that their carries are designed to play around the Omni Knight either with a Diffusal Blade, a lot of magical damage. I mean, there's lots of different ways you can address this hero, but at the end of the day, you know what RTK is looking to accomplish with it, and of course, how active players like Freeze and Aggressive can be with it.
Totally. Yeah, it's an incredibly potent hero. You got to make sure that, it's kept under wraps as well. Rubik taken? Not necessarily. I feel like it's actually a pretty great game for it, even just through the first two picks. Always a great answer to an Omni Knight. But it does reveal their two supports early, a Monkey King and a Rubik. Is there any way to punish that at all, or do you think it's pretty okay for IG Vitality?
I think overall it's going to bring enough versatility by default, just being able to control the laning phase, and the Monkey King can still go wherever he wants, and it can start off with, we've seen variations of the Poor Man's Shield or the Orb of Venom, but mostly just getting involved and trying to bully back the lane. I feel it's a pretty generic archetype these days when you compare him to like heroes like Ogre Magi or Earth Spirit, in some cases Spirit Breaker, so I feel like he's going to be able to do what he wants to do, and I don't think that it's actually showcasing any weaknesses, because if you're really investing anything into the draft to counter the Monkey King, it's kind of a waste that you're not instead counterpicking something else. Overall, it's just a strong overall great support that I think it doesn't give away too much to pick those two up.
Yeah. It does still leave open the possibility now of VGJ, if they wanted to go back for something like the CM, they could do it themselves, but you certainly don't have to by any means. Now, Omni Knight and Nyx Assassin in the same game. Do you think that we might see these two lane together? Does it sort of depend upon what IG Vitality go for in their next round? Also, I'm kind of wondering if we do end up seeing the Invoker banned out, since IG Vitality not opting to take it in their first round, and Team VGJ do have the first pick in the second round. They could take it themselves if they want to.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways to look at it. I mean, obviously, you have the spell steal, which I think is going to be a good answer no matter whose team it's on. But yeah, I think the Nyx Assassin still has to kind of play in a more reserved position, just kind of focusing on safe lane control and making sure the carry gets online. Because when you pick up an Omni Knight, it's more common you'll pick up more of a glass cannon type carry, so that you can really make the most of his abilities. I mean, when you have Repel and GA to fall back on, that means that you're going to want to be focusing on damage more than survivability. So I think Nyx Assassin really just needs to prioritize getting the lane off to the right start, and everything else will kind of fall into place.
Yeah. Terrorblade banned out now. Then talk about what happens with the Nyx Assassins. Also dependent a lot upon what the carries are that get taken for IG Vitality. The CM is going to be banned out. Another one of those heroes that just helps to further, accentuate that early spamability of the Omni Knight and Nyx Assassin, depending upon how you want to play them. But yeah, third pick now. I'm kind of wondering again, if VGJ don't take the Invoker here, I feel like IG Vitality certainly will.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the big hero on the board right now. And I mean, you can be countered to an extent with heroes like Rubik, but I still think it's a pretty solid pickup. And of course, the big block pick here to make sure that Paparazzi doesn't get his hands on it. So I would not be surprised at all to see the Invoker selected at this point in time. Of course, they could opt to go for their 5-position support. That could be all right as well, just to kind of flesh out their disables and make sure that they kind of cover all their bases. But let's see, there was the Crystal Maiden and the Warlock banned out, as well as the Venge and Treant earlier. So it is a narrower support pool as far as those kind of tier 1 selections. But it just really, I guess, comes down to how much you fear that Invoker.
Totally. That's the question right now. If VGJ have come up with the answers, enough of them, you've got the Omni Knight there for the Repel to naturally just help keep off the magical damage from an Invoker. Also, Nyx Assassin with Spike Carapace constantly being a thorn in his side. So it's going to be the PA as the answer. VGJ going pretty far outside their wheelhouse here, but that, I mean, repelled Omni Knight, it's pretty good. Or rather, repelled PA is pretty good.
Yeah, there were some drafts that actually designed around like Empower and Repel, making it so that PA could just be pretty much a do-it-yourself carry. Like she can pretty much do anything. In this case, yeah, she can build very offensively here. Doesn't need to build a BKB is the main idea, and with that extra 3,900 gold, she can do a lot of different things. So I'm expecting a very aggressive stance to the Phantom Assassin here. Going to be very in-your-face style. It will hopefully the Omni Knight can stay in range. That's the big thing, is PA can kind of get ahead of herself sometimes, trying to follow up on Nick's openers, and the Omni has to be right up there with her. So
I wonder.
Overall, I think it's a very high potency type draft that could just straight up win the game in some cases.
I wonder if we're gonna see though IG Vitality go back now for like the clockwork play, just so that way you can get the natural souls up onto Shadow Fiend. Obviously, it doesn't have to be that way, and it's worth noting that it's Sakata's most played hero in competitive matches, the Shadow Fiend. He absolutely loves this hero. Do you think that the matchup, I'm assuming that this is going to be PA mid, is that what you think it's going to be as well? I feel like we see it there more often nowadays than in the safe lane.
I'd say safe lane is probably where I would expect it the most, but I mean, it really comes down to a player preference coming down. Like, we do have seen aggressive play some more of unconventional heroes. Windfreeze wants to pick up something along those lines, but I don't generally like it more in the safe lane, because just the duel against the Shadow Fiend is really hard when you don't have as active a support. Like Monkey King, Shadow Fiend versus a PA plus whatever, like it doesn't feel as good. But they do get the coddle, and that kind of rounds out their lineup here, knowing that they now have some good wave clear and that they can extend the game as long as they need to.
Yeah, and maybe we'll even see some of that double dagger shenanigans from PA at the later stages. It's a possibility if you want to go for that, or even the Impale, you bring down the cooldown of it with the Chakra Magic. Not necessarily like the be-all, end-all in the world, but it's cool little thoughts like that could make things work. And IG Vitality going super late game. They're going to take the Spectre. I don't know. VGJ have sort of prepped up for the late game. I guess you could also play it aggro with Coddle, gain an early ags, and then just try and take towers, but you need another range carry now, right?
I mean, yeah, I think the high ground siege factor is pretty important here, and being able to break that before Spectre becomes too much of a threat. It's also Monkey King. Monkey King starts out as a 4, but often goes for Hand of Midas, very frequently is able to turn into a semi-carry in of his own. So I definitely think that respect is needed here, and butting heads as a dual late game lineups might be the wrong way to go here, because we saw what Spectre could definitely do in the late game. So all in all, Darkseer going to be the ban out in this case, and not fearing that clockwork you were mentioning, but I can understand that. I mean, having some really good potential combos with the Monkey King, with the Shadow Fiend, so, and just makes it harder for a melee hero like PA to lane. So going to be taking that out, and instead kind of focusing on what alternatives there are. If it's something like a Timbersaw, then they're probably just going to go ahead and skill Mana Leak on the Coddle. If not, then they'll probably focus on Chakra Illuminate and try to fight it out. So I think they can land against the Clockwork fair enough. For now, the OD is going to get banned out, so Freeze doesn't have that option, which is another great pairing with the Omni Knight.
I wonder if you just like TA here as VGJ. You go crazy and just start trying to run around the map and take towers. Again, it's kind of whatever they want to go with it. I guess if they do that, then maybe it'd be more worth it to go for something like a DK that allows you to siege more effectively. But this to me feels like a very scrappy lineup from Team VGJ at the start, and I don't know if like a PA plus anybody is really going to be able to outcarry Spectre, Shadow Fiend with the Wukong's command always in the background as that utility hero.
Hard to say right now what IGV need to really bring this draft back. Obviously, we already know that they're going to be scaling really well. I guess they just need anything that can really fight it out in the first few levels, which is very important for an offlaner in general. But I mean, I could see Axe doing a lot of work in this context. I think that would be a pretty solid pickup here, where even if he has trouble in the lane against the harassment, he can still go jungle. And the only thing you have to worry about maybe is like a Carapace spin. But I think that it's going to be about initiation for IGV, and they're actually going with Doom, which obviously can do a heck of a lot when he gets gets it on the right target. I think the Omni Knight will probably be the target like 90% of the time, but there could be definitely situations where you want to put it on somebody else.
I really like this pick too because to me it feels like VGJ has sort of built themselves towards this last pick being like a hard carry like a Medusa or something like that, something that gives you that extra bit of like late game potential, and it is sort of a similar hero with Storm Spirit. So Doom, the natural counter to a hero that wants to just be the all or nothing for your team. This to me feels like a very strong draft for IG Vitality. I'm favoring them going into it. Who are you favoring going into this one?
I actually really like what VGJ are going to bring. I mean, the Storm Spirit Omni Knight we already know about pretty well. I'm not completely sold on the Nyx Assassin at this point in time, but I do think that just the Omni plus the PA or Storm can do a lot of work. I mean, in theory, you have to worry about like when the Doom gets an Aghanim, he can mute a lot of good passives from the PA, or just in general when the Doom comes out on the Omni that he won't be able to bring what he needs to. But I just feel like that makes 3 really good targets to Doom in this game, and that's one problem that Doom often runs into, is that he's really good in the game, but you can only do so much when there's so many threats on the board. So I think VGJ, if they can get out of the laning phase with some momentum behind them, should be able to find Spectre where they need to and to keep the momentum rolling until the towers fall.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Your final game of the evening for the first day of the Kiev group stages. IG Vitality versus VGJ. And VGJ ended up taking an early lead after winning game number 1. Unfortunately for them, IG Vitality are able to pull it back in game number 2 off some immaculate team play and really good paparazzi invoker shenanigans, which they didn't even feel the need to go back to in this next one. So I'm excited to see what they come of it with this next little round of play. And if you had to sort of pinpoint one particular hero for both sides as to this hero needs to get off the ground and have a good game, who would it be for you?
I was going to say the PA, but now that I see Freeze on the Storm, I actually think that he can be the one that they rely a lot on in terms of momentum. If he gets a really good Bloodstone timing and can consistently rely on the RTK's repel, I would say he's going to be very effective. And then I would also have to say, along with that, Shadow Fiend, it's just this mid matchup in general is going to be really important for shutting down the Storm Spirit as well as just getting that farm. Shadow Fiend will always get some level of farm because his raises are so good at flash farming, but there's a big difference between like a Shadow Fiend who does okay in lane and one who does amazing.
Definitely. And again, this is a guy who has played this hero time and again. It's his most played hero in competitive Dota. Certainly knows it well, but might have to contend with some... I don't know if we necessarily see a ton of early aggression. It is FY on the Nyx Assassin with the Omni Knight looking to, I guess, go for the one-on-one. They're going to sit aggressive on the aggro lane against Paparazzi.
That's pretty interesting. I think it's definitely possible that they could set him up like that, just because he is going to be able to have good supports at his back that can tri-lane well. And Spectre is a hero that can get shut down pretty hard. Rubik as well is probably one of the weaker supports before level 6. Like, his base damage, his base armor, his base movement speed, these are really weak stats, and his spells don't make up for it enough. So while Rubik can really punish 3v1, in a 3v3, both Spectre and Rubik will struggle a little bit.
Okay. Well, and of course, there's just the nice little banana that pops around as well. Dogfight's doing his best on this hero. Did already skill up Jingu Mastery, so there's at least a little bit of knowledge going to the way of VGJ. And it looks like Coddle also got a last hit there, able to D-ward up here on the high ground.
Yeah, so that's going to be allowing them to feel very comfortable in their position up here. Nyx is going to have to play very position-oriented and make sure that he's in the right place to allow Aggressive to stay on the wave farming or to just try to go for the kills.
Oh my god, Aggressive into position already. They find the catch and Illuminate goes through. Dogfight's going to pop. First blood going to Fenrir.
Yeah, just it makes it very difficult. Like, the idea of Jingu Mastery is you hit a hero 4 times, and while we've seen plenty of that where it's very easy for Monkey King to do once he gets some farm behind him, here in this situation, isolated essentially 1v3, it's actually very easy to punish him. So Dogfight instead heads down bottom, tries to levy the matchup between Angel Lion and RTK.
Yeah, and hopefully at least that's going to mean for IGV that Paparazzi can get some decent amount of farm. He didn't start with the Poor Man's Shield or the double slippers. He decided to get more regen and just make do with the Stout Shield for the moment, as well as a Quelling Blade, knowing that he might be pushed under tower in this matchup. And aggressive, feeling confident, just diving into this. You're going to have the Illuminate spam going, as the pull camp did end up going for Super. And we'll be able to get a deny there as well on a Fenrir on the range creep. Much needed experience taken away from VGJ.
Yep. So Monkey King rotates bottom, and in return, Nyx Assassin is going to be there as well. Setting up a 2 versus 2, which again still favors VGJ quite a bit. There's not enough potency in the Rubik Spectre at this moment. So I think it might be a bit of musical lanes going back and forth, but the more destructive one is actually going to end up being bottom.
Yeah, a lot of potential for kills here. You still only have level 1 on the Monkey King, and it looks like FY is going to head off his pursuit of that rune and might even be able to come in and take out this illusion rune. So FY turns to hit dogfights a couple of times. It's not the easiest time in the world for him.
Yeah, looks like a small opportunity for a courier snipe here on mid, as we do see the Rubik kind of rotating for the bounty rune, but in the end, he's just a very slow hero, and he'd have to wait a very long time, to the point that the courier might even be upgraded by the time it next comes out to freeze. So currently freeze 12 and 6, doing very well for himself, but he's now extended very far forward, and Super's going to try to punish it.
Oh, they got him. Freeze in some trouble, goes to the south though, and Super is going to be able to force that Storm Spirit away, and pops the salve. Will be able to live through that one. Close call for Freeze.
Absolutely. So good movement there. Both heroes pretty slow in terms of movement speed, but Freeze has got the boots before the bottle, so that's allowing him to play the lane the way he is, very far forward. Does lose on some experience, but most importantly, he's just winning the lane against Sakata handily, and that will remain until a certain point where Sakata's Necro Mastery reaches critical mass.
And he's up to 18 souls at this point, so it is going to help out at least a little bit, as we do see in the bottom lane. Dogfight's going to drop. The combination of ROTK and FY too strong. Just the early point and Degenor, as well as the stun, purification, it's all too much for that poor little Monkey King.
So just going to be hard for him to find a comfort zone and an area where he could just actually get aggressive. He's going to be kind of resting back a little bit, maybe even goes into the jungle a bit, because the Doom can handle himself. The Spectre's lane is kind of already guaranteed to be a little rugged, but we're going to be seeing right now a couple spells cast out and really nothing to show for it.
Yeah, was Spectre being able to steal away the large creep from aggressive, so things at least a little bit better up there, but it's not been the best of lanes for Paparazzi. Still been able to get some farm, as well as picking up some of the levels, but it's a tenuous, at least middle ground, at least for them here. I'll have to watch and see if any other rotations come in, but I think the Paparazzi is probably outside of ability to kill, wouldn't you say, or is there still potential that they find a kill on him?
Well, down bottom first, FY is going to be taking a lot of damage from the Scorched Earth, but Freeze, without an ultimate, still has a lot of potential damage to bring the other way. Unfortunately, low on mana, he needs ROTK.
He's in trouble.
Get a heal bomb here.
Oh my god.
Get it.
They end up being able to walk away. The Haster keeping dogfights alive, but that brought Freeze super low, and it used up all his mana pool, so he's going to have to head back home. I do think that dogfights, he's level 2 and he took Boundless Strike, so he's going to have to deny himself to neutrals here, and looks like he'll be able to get it. Almost, maybe? What? The neutral creep, that was close. I guess he also got out a little bit of mana from FY there, so value.
Yep, in the end, though, it's just heading back and going to be an extended respawn for the Monkey King, but Spectre gets some space up top here, where she just only has to worry about these two heroes. In the meantime, though, Rubik, he's rotating mid again, trying to find a pickup. It would have been the Storm pre-6, but right now it's FY, just a low HP farming on the mid lane.
So Doom, mana burn, creep to continue to harass and mess with this Omni-Knight to the best ability as we miss a kill up in the top lane. Excuse me, mid. They ended up finding that kill onto Freeze. A huge
he just
one.
Came back with full HP, so that's actually quite surprising. Just telekinesis into triple raise. That's the only way that can happen.
All right. A big pickup there, and Super getting it done early on. Not at all what we would have expected.
Yeah, and now he's going to be maxed out right now, 24 souls for himself. He's going to be in a really good spot where he just continues to build himself up. And while the Storm Spirit can start ganking at 6, it's actually been slowed down quite a bit with the couple rotations that he's had to do, whether when he was ganked and had to run down the river, whether he went down into his own jungle to fight, or just now when he got killed off. Like, everything has been delaying him. And while this is a general strategy of VGJ to get FY that solo experience on mid, so that he can find a well-timed level 6 of top lane.
Yeah, they're going on to dogfights. They broke down a tree. He turns into a tree as well off the back of it. Gonna be able to not quite make the escape. Can't hide from Illuminate. And aggressive, running away from Paparazzi. That added movement speed. Super now maybe in a little bit of trouble as well. They pop that Mago, turn and find the kill. Well played, but they still take down Super. A double kill for Fenrir at this early stage.
Yeah, very nice movement there, but in the end, I don't know if it makes up for Spectre's early lack of farm. Fenrir still is going to be the one that gets the last laugh all day. And FY gets some freedom on the mid lane while the Shadow Fiend is jungling, and it turns into like the 4 position supports that actually are just focusing on getting solo experience and playing catch up. So this is gonna be levied by the Tome of Knowledge at the 10-minute mark, where suddenly we're gonna find like Vendetta and the Wukong's command coming out at around the same time, unless the Rubik decides to take the spell steal for himself.
And look at this. ROTK thinks that he's making the plays happen against In July. Little does he know, Super is there to turn it back around against him. Can they get into range, though? Just outside of it. Not going to be able to get the pull with Super. A little bit too slow with Omni Knight having those boots up, and they weren't able to connect onto that Omni Knight.
It's going to be a pretty frustrating game for this Rubik. Super multiple times, just barely out of range. Now going to get the teleportation with the haunt.
Everything dropped. ROTK, though, has the repel. He's still staying alive through this. He is still going to fall at the end of the day, and they should cancel this TP as well. Although Freeze shows up, apparently he wants to fight this. Gonna chase after Super. Does have a Fade Bolt again in a second. The Raze connects once, twice. Freeze, have you overstayed your welcome a little bit? Paparazzi chasing, but no mana to find that kill.
Yeah, very delayed reaction from the Storm. I guess they were trying to decide who was able to make the TP down bottom and make sure that they had enough heroes. In the end, Freeze still commits to it, but doesn't do anything more than force the Rubik back. So now we have them just trying to get everybody back together to defend this tier 1 bottom. And while Paparazzi is bottom, it's going to be aggressive to try to push out top.
Oh, and they can't quite connect. FY trying to get into range for the stun. Cicada almost able to bring down Freeze, but they have the heal, and Cicada is going to fall. It was very close to being able to get out. The scan revealed those positions as the TPs came, but they weren't quite quick enough.
So still going to be a really good movement for VGJ as they shut down half the souls of the Shadow Fiend, and Aggressive just gets free farm all the while, topping out our net worth now, and even having the potential to dive if he really feels confident. But for now, the important thing is that the tower just outside deny range has been dropped very low.
Yeah. So that should be a secured tower for VGJ, as we are getting closer and closer to that point where I guess the problem that I'm seeing though is like Storm Spirit, he's gotten off to a good start, but he still has to contend with the Doom at some point. Like, if Doom gets into a decent mobility item, how hard is this game going to become for Storm?
We'll have to see. I mean, it could be just quick reactions from the Storm could still help him out. You still always need that initial stun, right? So if the Rubik or the Monkey King can't get in position, then it won't really matter in the end. But, I mean, still, like, you've got to be building up towards Lincolns after your first key item. You've always got to have, like, quick reactions from your teammates. I mean, it just comes down to really who gets the spells off first. But I definitely think that this Doom is a pretty big threat, and he's building up pretty quickly. Had an okay laning experience, picks up Hand of Midas, or at least will, in about 600 gold. And then, of course, just keeps devouring his way to very significant economical advantage.
FY. He's looking around here with the Vendetta, but with Paparazzi in the area, a little bit too hard. Aggressive wants to make the play, and I think that the call is to go on Paparazzi here. There's the initiation Impale. They pump fake and end up connecting, and Paparazzi not able to get out in time. They just crit him to death. He had Haunt, but weren't able to do it. Cicada now, maybe gonna get this play in. Aggressive, low, and gonna die. Cicada finds the kill.
Much needed rotation there from Cicada. It's going to even things up a little bit once again. Still VGJ overall staying ahead of the game. But, I mean, we're looking at the overall net worth here, and there's nothing like outstanding. The PA is a bit ahead. The Storm Spirit is still a bit behind the Shadow Fiend. And the Doom is gradually catching up. The only real thing that stands out in terms of overall net worth is that Paparazzi is still very far behind, buying Iron Talon to try to find openings in the jungle, stacking that up for himself. It just feels like he's not been able to find any secure place to farm. He's been gotten about half the CS he was supposed to in lane, thanks to that lane matchup, and they're even looking to flank on the jungle.
Yeah, and they're expecting to get the kill onto IGV, which should be able to come, but with the rotations coming in, I don't think that IGV can take this fight. They have to back out. They're just going to have to give up this tower now.
Yep, so very clean movement, and again, Paparazzi just has to stay on the run. This is the position where Spectre is just nearly useless. She can haunt into fights, but I mean, that's really the only early game contribution she's bringing, and you need to already be essentially half winning the fight for that to be tilting the scales at all. And in fact, Rubik just gets going on, gets purification for himself, so he'll survive a little longer. But there's a chance they keep going. No, one more TP. They need to turn and focus their attention on Doom. Nice dodge of the Boundless Strike, but it is going to be Doom on Omni Knight.
Chasing further, ROTK is going to drop, and it looks like Freeze maybe going to be able to make this play. Super is going to drop. Dog fights, trying to find that kill, but Freeze able to create the separation. Now Aggressive goes back in onto dog fights. In July does have another one of those Infernal Blades, but not wanting to expend it. And Nyx Assassin now on the hunt as well. He could potentially do something to Sakati here with the DD rune. Whoa.
If the Storm Spirit had was in position to follow up, maybe, but or even the PA. But right now, just all by himself, I don't really see that happening. Even with the DD rune, you're only getting a bonus of 65 damage. So in the end, yeah, unless he's cleaning up somebody like the Monkey King, it's just not going to happen.
We'll see if he ends up taking a little jaunt to the east side of the map. Looks like he's going to head off there, looking for a pickoff, but not finding it as of yet. And there it is, In July, going to drop. Yeah, that's a pretty good thing. Scorched Earth with the Spike Carapace means that they're always going to be able to kill Doom.
Absolutely. So they're going to be able to bring the kill score 9-5. Rushing out the Desolator is going to be aggressive build, and this is the exact build you want with an Omni Knight on your side. I mean, sometimes you'll see like Vlad's or some other sustain or survivability tools, but when you have an Omni Knight, you really just need to focus on the damage first and foremost, and this is the best way to do it.
Well, this very aggro lineup coming out from VGJ, hoping to hit a timing here where they can just run down lanes and take towers. In your opinion, do you feel like the late game of IG Vitality is better than VGJ, or do you think it's about on parity, or is it going to sort of depend upon how the game plays out?
There are some annoying things about VGJ's lineup in the late game, like the Keeper of the Light when he has Aghanims and Gem can control the map pretty well. PA is obviously quite scalable, and Storm Spirit can either do the fountain jumps to clear out the waves really quickly, or just be a very powerful semi-carry in the late game no matter what. But I think I prefer IG Vitality's lineup. I mean, Paparazzi doesn't look like much now, but at a 6-slotted state, he definitely can be the hero that carries the game. And with play like Doom and Monkey King behind him, I don't see why that shouldn't happen. The real question is, where will they get the net worth to actually get to that stage?
Big play here. They've caught FY. They won't get Freeze. I don't know if they even spotted him, but
yeah. So they did scan here, got a red ping on it, and dropped the sentry. So pretty good, just game sense overall, knowing where the Nyx is want to be.
So Shadowblade also going to be the pickup now for the Shadow Fiend. Might be some big opportunities here for the unulti to be released. I guess also you can build it into the Silver Edge a little bit later and deal with the PA. It's evasion at the very least. But Midas soon to be there online for Doom. The Haunt comes out. Movement down towards this bottom lane. Fenrir in a hell of a lot of trouble. Does get the blinding light off, but I do believe that he is still going to die regardless. The TP's coming in, trying to get within range. They're not actually going to be able to catch up to him. He throws out the dagger, wants to hit it, but doesn't end up connecting. Now Paparazzi going to end up falling because of it. Fenrir is going to be able to waltz on out of there.
5 HP. The Dispersion nor the Spectre Dagger able to finish the job. 5 HP the Keeper of the Light teleports out on and just laughs in the Spectre's face. If he keeps playing like this, he's not even going to get to Radiance this game.
They find a kill and return in the top lane onto the Storm Spirit at the very least. Impale, a great spell for Super to be stealing. But still, it hurts when your Spectre goes down like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it starts to feel like you have a useless hero, like you're playing 4v5.
FY gets doomed. You did the Spike Carapace off, but Paparazzi going to chase this one. Again, it just all feels a little bit like over exuberant and like they're rushing things on IGV right now.
Yeah, they don't really have much patience at this moment. They're trying to at least cycle their cooldowns and try to keep their teamfight potential alive. But end of the day, that you're running Doom now with Midas as well as a Spectre. Like, these heroes are gonna have to take it slow. And I feel like when the fight comes to you, you should be ready to react. But right now, IGV can't be too proactive. They need to just kind of sentry observer up, form a good perimeter, get some farm online, because the only hero that's in a kind of do stuff position is Sakata's Shadow Fiend.
Right. And I mean, Paparazzi, as we mentioned, he's been behind this entire game, behind the Doom at this point. They need some other way to get this hero farm. Normally you get it through at least a little bit of kills. Right now it's going to be Iron Talon jungling, unfortunately, for this guy. And I mean, Dogfights is set up here in the bottom lane. You have Hunt back up in 11 seconds, but Dogfights, they end up revealing him, tries to jump away, but the pole will connect. And the Monkey King will be torn from the branches.
Yeah, very nice pick up there, and puts him very close to the Bloodstone, actually. Only going to need like not even 900 gold to finish that one out, and at that point, he's just going to start to try to dominate and build momentum by breaking towers, breaking heroes, and eventually getting Roshan. Once you have an Aegis there, you're in a really good spot.
And Paparazzi ate a Purification nuke, and then Freeze just ran at him with the Haste Rune. Sakata comes back in. They want to make a play. The Purification actually hits onto Sakata again, and so does the Overload proc and the Remnant. So, all right, Boundless Strike looking forward. Raise one, raise two. They get the kill.
Solid pick up there. Delayed rotation from FY gets a double stun, but no, the big thing here is they do actually get a kill out of this, cleaning up the Omni Knight. And I don't know really how to address the Spectre economically at this point. I don't want to say like they traded a 1 for a 3, because the Spectre is in a really weird spot in terms of contributing to the game, farming, anything. Like, she's what, like 6 on net worth now?
Yeah. Well,
7?
This might be the way that you make it work, though. You get them rotation in for Freeze, and they'll get the Doom off as well as the Haunt if they want to use it. No, they're just going to let Spectre farm and save the Haunt for after the fact.
Yep. And now suddenly moves up to still 7th in net worth. I mean, this is ugly. This is like no progress at all, but at least the Storm Spirits continue to be shut down. Not going to have his Bloodstone at some absurd timing that they can't control.
Sakata in trouble, getting gone on. They have the Monkey ulti as well. They end up throwing out the Blinding Light to push everybody back. VGJ is going to end up losing their Coddle, and maybe going to be able to lose a little bit more here. Dogfight's in trouble. Is he going to go down? Yes. Aggressive with the double kill. They catch the Impale onto Super as well. Game number 2 looks so great for IG Vitality, but they're kind of going back to the woes of game number 1, where they just don't have heroes that can do things right now.
I definitely agree with that, and it just seems to be that, I mean, Paparazzi getting shut down, the aggro trialing is something that they weren't prepared to deal with, and we're just going to continue to see snowball against them. I mean, Mechanism's going to be picked up for Omni soon. You might call it kill stealing with that Purify, but I say it's securing a very key item to let the push stay alive. The more towers you burn, the more the Nyx Assassin can go behind enemy lines, and it just, in general, is opening up the map, and even getting a great flank here on Dogfights.
Well, a little bit of a miss opportune there, but oh my god, the crit dismantling that Monkey King, and the dust immediately. Sakata, you went for the TP! It wasn't meant to be, and a double for aggressive. Looking like they are going to run away with this one. What is the answer for IGV?
I mean, stop TPing into 4 or 5 heroes would be a good start, but to be real, it's got to be playing under tower. Like, let them dive the tier 2, let them make the mistake. You keep going out there like that, you're just going to keep experiencing the same tragedy. We see right now Roshan going down, and I don't even think IGV are in a position to contest that anymore. The Shadow Fiend hadn't dropped, sure, they need to contest, in fact, but in this case, he's down for the count, and Roshan, the Aegis, going to freeze.
And Fenrir has his Aghanim Scepter. We've talked about this. It's a huge timing mechanism. Ag's Coddle. I don't know how you stop this push that's coming. You can just go as balls to the wall as you want with aggressive. I guess you have to
we're going to see aggressive with the life insurance here, so that's going to be a little bit different. With the Storm Spirit balling in, like he's got a full extra mana and health pool. He's a classic carrier where he can dive behind the lines. Here, aggressive, he probably wants repel over the storm, and wants to be the first to jump in. But he's kind of going in 1v3. Let's see how this works out. He's got the Omni Knight at least close by, and already the Rubik falls.
They doom ROTK, so in July it was a bold effort, but there's not really a great way to take this fight outside of it, and Dogfight's gone. FY's coming in to secure this kill. ROTK says, you want to do me? You want to do me? He doesn't give a damn. He's fine.
It just doesn't work. I mean, yes, the Doom is doing his job. He's finding the Omni Knight, he's dooming the Omni Knight, but yeah, you're preventing some spells, some items for a little bit, but in the meantime, your entire backline is getting shredded. Like, there's just nothing stopping this PA from wreaking havoc over on the certain targets. It's just gonna get worse, man. Like, we're approaching rapidly the level 3 ultimate coup de grace, or a Phantom Assassin, and she's just gonna be able to essentially two-shot anybody. And up top, Freeze finds the opening here, gets some more bloodstone charges as he picks up the Spectre.
From bad to worse, Monkey King can only look on as Freeze has already taken apart his... I mean, it was such a tough situation from the whole point of this draft. All right, here you go. Sakata, no, they don't get it. He's just gonna walk away. Oh, man. Boys, this is rough.
Yeah, a little bit too much mana. Just is able to find himself a safe place and now work towards his Orchid. In the meantime, Vlad's and soon to be Yasha coming up for the PA. So really just a lot of good bread and butter items. Gonna try for the Vendetta. Who needs a Vendetta when you've got a free dagger crit?
It doesn't matter.
FY is gonna survive as well. Holy crap.
Blaze, this is not emblematic of the way that this series has gone up until this point. I felt like it was evenly matched, but in this game number 3, VGJ have just found the answers, and now they're going to pull back in the PA to be ready to fight in the mid lane. Paparazzi getting gone on. They have a pretty good Boundless Strike, but the Spectre's already gone. Sakata able to turn it back around, but the mechanism is already there. They don't care. He's thinking about going back in again. They've got the Purification Repel to come out as well. On to Freeze, keeping him alive. Sakata getting crit, pops the BKB, turns to fight. But I don't know if they can get anything more off the back of the Super. Comes back in. They need to find something, anything at all for IGV, but they're all going to die. 3 are dead. A double kill for Aggressive. And there is not a damn thing IGV can do about it.
What a mess. This is just a bloodbath here in the mid lane. It's 26-10. This PA just doing so much damage in these fights. I mean, it's what you do when you have an Omni Knight behind you, but dropping down like that, a full Requiem going out on the PA, narrowly surviving thanks to the mech of RTK, and then just going right back in. Like, these health resets, this lifesteal, insane. And there's nothing to fear at this point. You've got all this evasion, you've got potential immunity to spells, you've got heals just rolling, and our IGV just don't have an answer.
And again, you do not want to drop down at this stage of the tournament to 0-2. This is the lower side of the Swiss stage. Rather, switch format for the group stages. I guess the hope here is you get Paparazzi farmed, but I mean, staring down the barrel of a 26-minute Radiance, most likely, if it even comes at that point, is there comeback potential there?
You don't even look to the Spectre to get this game back to you. You like have to find that Silver Edge on Sakata. You have to just wait for them to dive your tier 3s inevitably and hope you have a way to break through the Guardian Angel when they do. Like, the Doom and the Shadow Fiend really have to be the ones to make it happen. The Monkey King in that last fight did everything he could, and it wasn't enough.
All right, well, Aggressive, he's got his repel on him. Doesn't really care, and now you have the heals coming from the Cadillacs. Illuminate spam becoming all the more potent. I mean, there's a Solar Crest, but FY just gonna pop this Spike Carapace, and Super is just gone in an instant. They have the Radiance there. I don't know what he sold, but he needs every damn thing here at this point in time. They end up all dropping. There is still the Haunt coming up. Can they find this kill? ROTK is doomed. This is about as good of an initiation as you could possibly hope for, but Paparazzi being controlled, being killed off. Can they do it? I don't think so. They've gone through the Aegis, but everybody goes back in again. The Doom wears off. And what was a dream of a game that could have gone well for IGV has been broken by VGJ.
Poor Super just getting dropped down every time he's visible on the map. So the PA's just gunning for him, and they get absolutely trounced. 2 games go in extensive duration, turned into just a slugfest either way. And this 3rd game just turns into an all-out stomp. VGJ going to tie up their match score here for the first day of the Kiev Major group stage.
Yeah, VGJ pulling it back, and looking at all of the teams that have been able to make it through and the ones that they might have to face off against. We saw, obviously, Invictus Gaming, Team Secret, Virtus Pro, and TNC move on at the top of the groups. Looking at VGJ and the way that they performed here, does it inspire a lot of confidence in you? They didn't look great in game number 2.
Yeah, but I feel like that was more of a drafting and strategy issue where they realized that they had these great heroes to lane with, and then they just couldn't get the lanes to work. I talked about how Fenrir kind of got shell-shocked, getting caught out with all those sentry wards, and he didn't really get to play his game either. I feel like maybe they can restructure how they move about the map, or maybe if they want to go for heroes like Juggernaut and Phantom Lancer in the same draft, but I don't think that should shake them in terms of gameplay. In terms of gameplay and team coordination, they showcase what they could do here, and that's what I hope they bring to the main stage.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I believe that we are the last game that was online throughout these group stages. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast all throughout today. I'm sure that Paul did a much better outro than I'm doing right now, but you know what? That's what he does. I yell at my computer screen, and then that's what ends up happening there. Place any final words about this day number 1 from the Kiev group stages, things that you are looking forward to seeing, maybe meta shifts that you've noticed, anything that sparks your interest.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we got to see TNC really dressed to impress, a very underrated team that's going to at least come out pretty far ahead in terms of their overall seeding. We'll have to see what matchups that eludes them to and how far they can actually get through the